Welcome back, fellow nerds. Today we are deep diving into the Tolkien universe, and we are going to be exploring the best and brightest that man had to offer in all of Middle-earth, the Numenoreans. Anyone hoping for just another shirtless episode, bam, there you go. Now, back to the nerd stuff. In case you're not familiar with the Numenoreans, or the only exposure you have with them is in the Amazon Lord of the Rings series, they were the best that man had to offer in the Second Age and all time. So I feel if anybody got done dirty in Lord of the Rings, you know, aside from whatever you feel, it was the Numenoreans, because they really were the pinnacle of human power. They were the best that man had to offer in the Second Age and all time. To start, they were massive and imposing in size, from 6'4" to 7 feet as the average, and Elendil himself, called Elendil the Tall, was almost 8 feet tall. Just the stature itself is staggering. Just to scale it for a second, I'm 5'11", about 180, 185 pounds. This bow is close to about 6'3" when it's unstrung. Now imagine an 8-foot giant next to me over here. That is the size of the Numenoreans, and that's something I think the show missed dramatically, was the imposing nature and force of a man that big. They just got pushed around by everyone, and it was embarrassing to have elves pushing the peak humans around like it was nothing. Amazon, come on. They were also gifted with extremely long life, up to 500 years for some. And what did they do to earn this? Well, they fought alongside the Valar in the First Age to defeat the forces of Morgoth. And in doing so, they were gifted special abilities and were given an island that later became Numenor. And you may be thinking at this point, how does this relate to the channel, which is like historical and archery and everything, with a bit of fantasy? Well, the big thing is the Numenoreans were feared for what? A steel bow. They had a hollow steel bow. So I want to go over a little bit about that, what that would look like, what I think Tolkien was trying to envision, and how that would work. So on this channel, of course, you know I shoot heavy bows. This one here is 155 pounds. Their arrows were about 4 feet long. So if I'm doing a big draw, let's say 32 inches, that's a lot of effort to bring that back. So for a 4-foot arrow with a steel bow, that's a lot of time of contact with the string. So what does contact time with the string mean? Well, one of the major reasons the longbow was able to outperform a crossbow, even though crossbows could be 1,000 to 1,200 pounds, is because they had longer time in contact with the strings. Crossbow, even though it was 1,000 or 1,200 pounds, it had very short contact time with the springs, so it wasn't able to go as far or as fast. Unfortunately, I don't have a steel crossbow, but Todd did some testing. You can see, even with his 1,000-pound crossbow, the max speed he was able to get was about 157 feet per second. With this bow here at 155 pounds, I get around 197 to 198 feet per second and can shoot it further than a crossbow. So with all that, it starts to beg the question, would a steel bow be any good? Well, so one thing you need to know about wood for bows is you generally have a softer underbelly and a firmer top side. This is a south bow, so it's one piece. But with the yew, you have the different softer underbelly and the more rigid side. And then with a lot of other bows, you have the softer underbelly and then like the bamboo on top, which helps it spring back into place faster. And that's where the arrow speed comes from, is not from the poundage behind the pull of the bow, it's from the speed at which it returns to its normal state. Now, steel bows were not unheard of in Indian and Persian culture. There were steel bows used, but not perform as well as wood or composite bows. Tolkien was not necessarily going for that kind of bow, one that would underperform. These were the largest and greatest specimens man had to offer, worthy of a powerful bow that would make their enemies tremble before them. So I would say what would be more analogous to would be taking a steel crossbow And that concept of the big power of the 1,000-pound draw weight, putting it on a bow so it takes an 8-foot human to draw back, you're gonna have much more contact time with the string, therefore more speed, more power. And you're just gonna launch those things. So is a super heavy duty steel bow something that can work? Let's say you're getting, 800 to 1,000 pounds versus 155 out of it. Well, again, it's all gonna be about how quickly it reshapes to its original form. And that's why those recurve bows, or my recurve bow as well, is gonna test faster than this bow because it's more efficient, because it's returning to its original state faster. So the steel itself would have to be extremely responsive upon release to get back to its original shape, to have enough speed to push it down range far and get that max velocity. Oh, man, this thing's tiring. So what happened to the mighty Numenoreans, the descendants of Eddar? Well, in the Second Age, they defeated and captured Sauron. But within just a few short years, he became chief counsel and envied the elves for their immortality. And long life was simply not enough for the Numenorean king. And so they began to covet. Of course, that bloodline lives on in the Numenorean Rangers, and we all know who has that blood and who later became the true king. I know this video was a bit of an offshoot, but if anything, I've gotten more emboldened in my nerdiness as this channel has gone on, and I'm more comfortable just having fun with the nerd stuff as opposed to trying to make it a certain way. It was just a really fun thought experiment because I love the Numenoreans and I love the lore behind them, the strength and the power behind, the epitome of man, and the curiosity as well as someone who shoots heavy bows. So I apologize, I actually lost a little bit of footage that day because of the wind. I'm still figuring out all the technical aspects of filming, but basically the end of the video was me saying how much I love Lord of the Rings and how much it influenced my journey in archery. I first read the books in junior high, then after that in high school I saw the movies and then read the Silmarillion later, and it really kind of spearheaded my desire to pick up the bow. And so that being said, I am not a Tolkien scholar, so anything that I say that's incorrect or if I mispronounce words or things like that, I do apologize. I try to do my best in research and practice the words, but I still make mistakes on camera, and then I'll hear it back and be like, oh, I can't refilm it. But all that to say, I hope you really enjoy it. I'm still working on this channel to feel it out and see what everyone loves to share the most, because that's the most fun, is I want to share the things that people enjoy watching and engaging with. I obviously am making the stuff that I want to do because it's fun and it's stuff that I like, but if there's things that you guys want me to stick more with, more historical content, more weapons testing, more armor testing, things of that nature, just let me know, because I'm happy to try and steer things. It's all fun to me. I enjoy just being out here with medieval weaponry, breaking stuff and telling stories. So if there's something you guys want specifically, let me know in the comments and I can try and incorporate that, try to include more of that. The sling, is it mace, is it other things? Just, communicate with me and we'll make a fun channel together.